All right, guys, we're here with Andrew Comrie-Picard, better known as ACP, the driver of the Scion XD in the Rally America series. Welcome to Oversteer TV.
Thanks.
Um, Olympus Rally, pretty much your first full rally in the XD. Unfortunately, we had some bad news over at the Olympus Rally. I'm sorry, this is the Oregon Trails Rally. How did that come about? How was the car able to improve so much you were able to take the victory?
Well, it definitely was I think it's like the movement of a swan over the surface of the water. You know, it looks graceful and smooth on the surface, and we're paddling like hell underneath. So, although Oregon marked 1 year for Scion's involvement in rally, they only ran 3 rallies previous to my coming on the team. Then we ran the Olympus Rally a couple of weeks ago with a bunch of changes to the car, including a turbocharger. And then we were able to pull everything together, and now at Oregon win first overall in two-wheel drive and seventh overall in the rally. So you're right, that is a really fast progression. The good news, I mean, we were able to use all the little development time we had to its greatest effect. So at Olympus, there were a bunch of new things on the car, including a new turbo system and exhaust and tuning and so on. And we had some problems with that at Olympus. But the great news is the team is so amazingly enthusiastic and able that they brought it back to California rather than leaving it up in the Pacific Northwest. They brought it back to California for like 5 days and worked like mad day and night to engineer a new system, retune it, rebuild it really, and the effect was excellent. The turbo was flawless. The whole tuning was excellent, and in fact, Tane came back and according to the feedback that Robbie and I gave them at Olympus, rebuilt the shocks with different internal valving and different. Basically went to the shock dyno with them and redeveloped them, and the car became night and day. At Olympus, the car was awesome. So there was a hell of a lot of work that went on between events and behind the scenes to make the Oregon Rally go essentially according perfectly to plan.
At Oregon, you had a lot of issues with the rain. In fact, I believe it was day 2. It pretty much was a quagmire out there. How were you able to handle that? And like you talked about the new teen shocks and everything, the dampers. You know, you set it up for one thing, and then all of a sudden you're in a swamp, basically. How do you adjust as a driver, and was the team able to make some changes also?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. One of the reasons I think that that's a place where we have a real strength. So the Tane shocks, what we mostly worked on between the events was the high-speed damping over the really, really rough stuff. And so the good thing is we knew that when we came to Oregon there was some rough stuff, and we knew that I wouldn't have to lift over it. So that got us a big advantage, like on some of the longer stages, which were very rough. But then you're exactly right. One of the stages went from basically dry into like a farmer's field, which was like soup. Soupy mud. It was unbelievable. You almost can't adjust the suspension to that. You go as soft as you can. In order to try to get the car to weight transfer, but it was such a mess in there that it hardly even mattered. So that became more important that you have the right kind of differential, especially in a two-wheel drive car, and the right kind of tires. So our first pass through the muddy stuff, we actually had on some fairly bald tires after working the car really hard over some long stages. And but fortunately, again, between the events, we fitted a different kind of differential, like a CAS clutch-type differential. So between the differential and then we went back to service and put on some mud tires, some really deep-cutting mud tires. And the combination of those two things gave us a huge advantage in the mud in the end. And it doesn't matter that you necessarily be fast through those bad conditions. It just matters that you be faster than everybody else, and we were.
Now you're heading out to Pennsylvania for the next rally in a couple of weeks. What adjustments do you have to do to the car to be successful out there, or basically is the XD set a good car for the rally that's coming up, or you have to make a lot of changes?
Well, I mean, like any new program, it's continual development. So we're working on making the car faster and faster on all surfaces for all events. Pennsylvania's tricky because it's quite fast and extremely narrow, so you have to be very, very precise there to do well. And if it's wet, it can be very, very, very slippery. All the basics are in place with the car, but at the moment we're just waiting for the word from the sponsors about what events they want to do next. So Pennsylvania isn't a slam dunk, but we're sort of waiting to pull the trigger on what's next.
Ah, okay. It's always up to the sponsors, huh?
Well, yeah,
It's,
at this level, and I'm actually really happy that the sponsors are extremely enthusiastic on this car, and it's amazing. I mean, we had at both rallies, we had the managing director of Ready and the marketing director of Kane, and they were hands dirty, like arms deep in fixing the car and developing the car. So I think the sponsors in this case, I mean, been lucky to work with a lot of great sponsors, but these guys are really, really invested. And the Scion executives were out at the event also at the beginning in Portland, and they saw what we do and what rally's like, and I took them for rides in the car, so that helped them see it. And I think it's extremely positive overall. So I'm really, really impressed by this bunch of guys. And I mean, of any sponsors to work with, this is a really great group.
any chance of the rally cross on the horizon for the Scion?
Yeah, it's been talked about, but I don't know yet. It's going to be a question of their budget and their goals, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a great car for that. But I'd love to see us, these three cars dicing it out door handle to door handle on track too.
Okay, Andrew, I want to thank you again for coming on again. You're going to be one of our regulars. We're going to be a real pain in your butt over the coming rest of the year.
It'd be a pleasure, no problem.
All right, Andrew Comrie-Picard, driver of the Scion XD in the Rally America Series. Thank you for coming on Oversteer TV.
Thanks.